Hello and welcome to the special episode of Twitchy Tuesdays. Normally we're thriving live once per week. This time we are here twice per week. And why? Well, because we are here to gather. We are here to feast. We are here to share in the spirit, in the energy of Lughnasadh. Let's embrace the blessings of the earth together and embrace this transformative energy of the first harvest. It's season time. It's time to harvest all of the blessings that we have been working towards. It's time to celebrate growth, community, and the cycle of life. And that is what you are in for today. We have made it August 1st, technically, is when the Sabbath, the next Sabbath, Lughnasadh or Lammas, the first harvest, comes into play. So that's what we are doing today on this special Twitchy Tuesday. We are going to talk all about it. We're going to do a special tarot reading. We love the Sabbaths with their extra special tarot, and we've got Labradorite, we've got the Lughnasadh altar up. We are ready to go. So let's get into it. Let's talk about Lughnasadh. So the wheel is turned now. Lughnasadh kind of enters into that second half of the year, the darker half of the year. It's that pivotal point where our harvest is coming in. We start shucking the first grains out and we look to, okay, we know winter is coming. We know that our harvest is going to have to sustain us through all of the dark days of winter. And this is a time to take stock, to understand what do you have? Is it enough for it to last? Is it enough to put it away? This time is really associated with the grain wheat harvest that aligns with the halfway point between the summer solstice, which is Litha, and the autumn equinox, which is Mabon, which is when Libra season starts. That halfway point finds itself at 15 degrees of Leo. Typically celebrated on August 1st. If you were celebrating this through a astrological, through a celestial sort of way, then you would want to wait until 15 degrees of Leo. It's the shift of the elements, bringing in not only fire, but water as well. So you can see we've got water on the altar, we've got fire on the altar, and we've got representation of both of those elements on the spread, which you will see here in just a minute. So I wanted to read two really amazing quotes that I found from a book called The Ultimate Guide to the Witch's Wheel of the Year by Anjanu Kiernan. And that really, I thought, symbolically, beautifully, just really puts everything cherry on top of this conversation for Lughnasadh. So the first quote is, "Harvest season sustains us, but at a price. The seeds that we have nurtured from intention to nourishment, we must now cut down in the field. A noble death that gives us life. But it raises the question, did we plant enough to sustain us through the barren months ahead?" And that is what we will take stock of as we get into August, between August and when Libra season starts in the middle of September. So all Leo, all Virgo season. And that's why I love that Virgo shows up right after this, because Virgo can have that analytical mindset. Virgo can tell you, I did the calculations. Yeah, it ain't happening. Or, hey, we've got more than enough. In fact, we can even share. So that is a question during this Lughnasadh you could definitely journal about, meditate on. Did we plant enough to sustain us through the barren months ahead? That is it. The second quote, again from the same book, "The first grain harvest results in the death of the corn spirit that had been sheltered in the growing fields of wheat. At first cut, the spirit, who may be personified as John Barleycorn, Beowa, Lu, Sif, Osiris, or simply God, becomes tetherless. But the spirit's death is not in vain. For from the fields it's milled into flour, he is milled into flour, kneaded into dough, and finally baked into bread, which will fill our bellies and sustain us through the long winter. The transformation not only gives life to the human race, but allows the spirit to to be reborn come spring. The cycle of death and rebirth is the most important concept in the universe, and the grain harvest exemplifies that. And truly, that's why I do this. That's why, this is for me, this is part of my ancestral lineage, following Sabbath, following the wheel of the year, turning that statement. The transformation not only gives life to the human race, but allows the spirit to reborn come spring. The cycle of death and rebirth is the most important concept in the universe, and the grain harvest exemplifies it. It really is like that's what we do here. That's why I'm here. That's why I talk about Sabbaths. That's why we do readings. That's why we do Twitchy Tuesdays, because it is working with those natural cycles that we can see this beautiful death, rebirth, and we can witness that all around us. All right, so let's get into the Sabbath a little bit more. I'll go through different areas that celebrate something like a first harvest. So in Norse mythology, this is a time to honor Freyr and Sif, possibly even Sif's husband Thor, since Thor, thunder, right? God of thunder. But Sif was really, and Freyr were really the ones that brought in the agriculture. The Anglo-Saxons called this Loafmas, which through Christianization turned into Lammas, where the first loaf is consecrated and shared. I don't know if you can tell, but right there, right by the candle is a loaf of bread, cut in half, breaking bread, being able to bring in the grains. In Celtic, the sun god Lugh, which honored his foster mother, Queen Talchu, during the first harvest. So from a Celtic standpoint, which this is part of the Celtic wheel, this is a time when the sun god really honored what his foster queen mother did for him and did it through harvest. The Egyptians, this is also the annual death of Osiris. Osiris is definitely aligned with corn. And Osiris was murdered by his brother Set and brought back to life by his wife Isis, which then they were able to conceive the sun god Horus. So this is celebrated throughout many, many, many different cultures. And it's a great time to it's a great time to be around community. It's a great time to go to a farmer's market, exchange crafts, have fairs, exchange goods, clean your pantry, get your resources ready, because we are moving to the dark half of the year. Another way to celebrate, if you are in Europe, Bilberry Sunday. Dancing, picking bilberries in the hills, making pies, making jams, making jellies. And, back in the day, bilberry this time of year really exemplified going home, picking the berries, maidens picking the berries, going home, and then giving their pie, what they created, to their intended betrothed. So it is a celebration. It is something like there's a reason why we have county fairs this time of year. There's a reason why we all kind of come together in those hot August nights and find a sense of community, because it is a time of celebration. Our first harvest is here. The hard work that we put in through the beginning part of the year, we're now starting to reap that reward. Again, it's also time to pay attention. Through now, Virgo season to Mabon, which is the start of Libra season, the middle of September. If harvest wasn't plentiful or as plentiful as you need it to be or thought it should be, you can absolutely consider at this time what else can be planted in time for the final harvest, a Samhain, which happens in October, the end of October. That's the last time typically things are brought in from harvest, things are brought in from the field, and there is still things that grow during this time. So consider what else might be needed. From an altar standpoint, you can see here kind of an example of the altar. You can do sunflowers, wheat, a cauldron, a chalice, anything, bread, fire, water, right? Those are the elements we're working with. Cider, garlic, grapes, jams, nuts, wines, dragon's blood is a great scent, along with rosemary, sage, sandalwood, and any sort of instruments of the field. So those would be like plows or sickles, and bells and gongs, things that are bright and chirpy because we are still in the warmth, in the right smack dab at the beginning of Leo season, just bringing in that warmth. So you can see here what I did was actually put in the bowl. I have plums, peaches, and nectarines. This is that kind of first harvest for those sorts of fruits, along with bread with garlic in it. In the chalice, I have cloves as well as rosemary sprinkled throughout. And then these are actually sunflowers from not our backyard, but where I live. I went out and harvested those sunflowers so that way I could bring in that nature. The directions, south and west. Those are the directions that you're working with, along with, like we talked about, fire and water as your elements. And then just to go into a couple of crystals, if you work with crystals, carnelian, citrine, peridot, which is August birth month's birthstone, orange calcite, red jasper, tiger's eye, and yellow topaz. You can see kind of that theme, that sunny theme, the reds, the oranges, those golden colors. All right. That is all about Sabbath. That's all what Lughnasadh, what we're doing, where we're going. And now let's get to the tarot. Okay, we are using the Druid Craft Tarot deck. I did not put it in the description box yet. I will as soon as this is done. I have used this deck before. I love using this deck for the Sabbats because it really exemplifies kind of that nature. So I have that here. We also have Labradorite. And I'll go into why Labradorite is present. I've got two of them here. And then I actually have Larvikite on the altar, and I'll explain that as well. So for tarot reading today, we are preparing our fields. We're preparing our field physically if you are a farmer, or if you have a garden, if you produce your own bounty. We are also preparing our fields, the fields of our mental space, the fields of our spiritual space, and the fields of our physical space. And we're preparing those for harvest and possibly having to plant one more time before we close out the harvest season. So Labradorite, and why it's here, is really to help us transform, to seek that which resides deep in our psyche and bring shadows to light. Being honest and truthful with ourselves and where we are at in preparing our fields, our mental, spiritual, physical fields. And it really energizes our imagination. Maybe it's a little bit where we need to come up with new ideas. We need to bring clarity in to our inner self, bring peace, truth, and flexibility. And it awakens freedom and balance and promotes the third eye. So that is Labradorite, and it's going to help guide our tarot reading today. On the altar is Larvikite, which is Norse. It is from Norway, the Larvik Forge region of Norway. And Larvikite aligns a lot with Labradorite. It's on the altar just simply because of the ancestral aspect for myself. But I did want to talk about this crystal because I had not encountered Larvikite before. I actually went in to the botanical for Labradorite. I wanted a point of Labradorite, and the gentleman pulled out the point, and I was holding it, and he goes, "Actually, I have this, and it's from Norway." Thank you. I'll take that one. That's what I needed to know. Went and found the Labradorite anyways, so that way it could be here. And the Larvikite made it on the altar. So Larvikite cancels out dark magic and hexes, repels all forms of negative energy. It can cleanse our spiritual bodies, It can help help kind of clear what no longer serves us, cleanse out the karma from past lives. It can provide ongoing protection and act as a spiritual and auric shield. So it kind of helps bring your aura and that auric shield to life, causing dark energy to bounce off you. So it's a great protection stone. It can strengthen your psychic powers by inducing inner perceptions, great insights that will be beneficial to you when time comes. What a great time right now, right? When we're trying to assess and understand and prepare our fields. And then it also helps you not dwell on the negativity of life's problems. Finding flexible and creative solutions. That is what this stone is all about. It helps you out with your challenges. It helps you understand other people's intentions, guard against the negative, and anybody that is in there trying to manipulate you right now during this time. So that is what Larvikite is for. If you've never used it, it feels great. The energy is great. And yeah, there you go. All right. So let me put the labradorite. We're going to put this over here. Get that in there we go. All right. So what we are going to be questioning today is really all about the harvest. So what's been nourishing us since solstice? What have we reaped since solstice? What is not yet ready to harvest? What are we still kind of waiting on? What has reached the end of its cycle? What am I ready to remove? What am I grateful for? What needs attention from now until Mabon, the next Sabbath, and a message from the god, the goddess, and the god. So first off, there's this like tree configuration. So let me actually put these over here. So that way we have the space. All right, so the first card out is going to be signifying of the wheat. What has nourished us since the summer solstice that aligns with the energy of the wheat? What has nourished us since summer solstice? The Magician. Oh, okay, there we go. Perfect. All right, card 2, the Harvest. What have I reaped since summer solstice? So what have we already brought in? This one wants to come out. We have the 7 of Wands and the Sprout. What is not yet ready to harvest? What are we still working on? What is not yet ready to harvest? Thank you. The Hanged Man. And Compost. What has reached the end of its cycle? The Sun. And whoa, there we go. Weed. What am I ready to remove from my life? The 10 of Swords. And the Corn Mother. What are we grateful for? What are we grateful for? The 8 of Cups. And there is going to be 2 more right here, which is the Hoe. What needs attention from now until the next Sabbath, which is Mabon. What needs our attention? The Prince of Wands and the Cauldron, a message from the goddess and the god. What is the final message? Strength. Beautiful. Okay. Put these back. All right. So I want everybody to see, because as soon as I push these up, it looks like the Magician is going to come in. Yeah, oh, wait, there. Maybe we can do it off to the side. Let's try that out. Here we go. There we go. Beautiful. It's a little off to the side. We're good. We're great. Okay. So first question, what has nourished us since summer solstice? And the Magician popped out. I heard very clearly, and it's funny because I almost want to start right here with this Hanged Man, which was Sprout, which is what's not ready to harvest. because they really do align. What has nourished us since summer solstice? It's ourselves. It's what we have been creating. It's the magic that we have been alchemizing within our own being, within our own energy signatures. It's the work that you've been doing. It's all of the things that, again, it's so interesting because what's nourished us is not pentacle. It's not something physical. It's not something tangible. What's nourished us and what's given us life is the understanding that through our work, through our alchemization, through the things that we do, we are building, we're creating, we're being nourished. We're being nourished by the decisions that we make, the wisdom that we've gained. Because look, this magician is older, right? This is not a magician that just started. It's not, young Merlin walking around, right? Trying to pull, trying to help out and just learn his craft. This magician is seasoned. Not only is he seasoned, he's got Stonehenge right in the background. There's ancient knowledge here. Ancient knowledge here that has been nourishing us. We've been making these great, strong choices through this year. The change has come. There's also a rooster in the back. The things that you've been working on, all of that has nourished you. And what have we reaped? Well, through that nourishment, the Seven of Wands comes out. We have reaped that, like I said, that wisdom. We know, look at each of these swords. We know which swords are going to work to our advantage and which ones aren't. We are very skilled and crafted right now. We're moving. It's almost like, I love how these are all straight up. They're in alignment. What have we reaped since the solstice? Getting in alignment, getting an understanding of what's needed, building the wall, building the protective field around us. Look, there's these two little helmets poking up. They can't get up here. Right? Here we've been nourished. We've been nourished by our inner magician. We've been nourished by expanding our mindset, doing the work necessary to do the things that we need to do. And we've also been nourished by the warrior. The other side of that, bringing these things into balance, knowing that they're in alignment. That's what we've reaped. Through that magician, we've also strengthened, and through our work, we've also strengthened the warrior. And what's not ready to harvest yet out of all of that is some more ideas. The Hanged Man, look, there's even a sickle here. We've got the wheat. Perfect understanding of harvest. Perfect understanding of Lughnasadh. We're not ready yet. And honestly, this is really interesting because this kind of looks like the Oak King a little bit. You got some of those bilberries right here, maybe even a little bit of blackberries. But this looks like an Oak King. He's not ready yet. He's not there yet. There are ideas, there are things. What's not ready to harvest? Quite a few things. And that's okay. There is some that is ready, but the whole picture, it's in a time of waiting, being intelligent, understanding, going back to the magician, going back to the Seven of Wands, understanding which wand to pick up, understanding which one is going to serve you now, understanding which ideas are going to reap even further harvest for you from now, right? Lughnasadh all the way until Samhain. What do you actually need? What do you need to be harvesting? So then we come down to our compost. What has reached the end of its cycle? Clear the sun. It's time to start moving towards that darker half. Yeah, August is still very hot for most of us, especially in the United States. August still has sun left. But ever since the solstice, the sun has been working its way all the way to the winter solstice, which is going to be the longest darkness of the year. Yule. So what's That's that cycle. There's also something like, I'm hearing this too, is what's reached the end of its cycle, especially with the hanged man still here with what's not ready to harvest yet. Like this inability to be the sun has also reached, that's in compost, right? Not being able to celebrate. Look at this harp right here. Look at how happy this child is. Look at how wonderful this horse is just riding off into the green fields. We have reached the end of not having this be our standard. We've done the work, right? We have nourished ourselves. We've magician, warrior, we've balanced that out. We know we're in a waiting game. We're okay with waiting because it's not now. It's not a no, it's a not now. We can remain grateful. And I can tell you right now, with that Saturn-Mars conjunction that just happened, had to come back to some gratitude practices. And that's okay. That is okay to have to come back. But know that this cycle that's ended, what's been maybe shining on you for too long, things that have been too bright that you couldn't exactly see through, couldn't get through, all of that's going to be behind. It's time to harvest. It's time to change. It's time for that wheel of the year to move over another notch. And what are we ready to remove? What weeds are we ready to remove? We have the Prince of Wands. Going back to this hangman, this one right here, this to me is like the energy that is radiating out of this reading, because what are we ready to remove from our lives? How do I want to put it? Sporadic action. The quick to act. Again, that goes back to maybe when this magician was Merlin, baby Merlin. We have wisdom now. Not quick to act, right? This all ties back to Mars's journey through Gemini. This year, as Mars, and really last year too, as Mars has gone through Gemini, and we talked about developing that warrior, we talked about developing that intuition, all the things that Venus, quite frankly, is going to be doing in Leo through this season as we get to Lughnasadh, and then through that rest. What we are weeding out, what we're ready to remove, is this quick fired action, this young, heroistic, egotistical, like, we're good. We can wait. We can be patient. We can lead forward. We can be a leader of ourselves. We can be a leader of our family. We can be a leader of the community. We know where we're going. Even though the sun is what has reached the end of its cycle, we know what we are doing, where we are going. We know and we trust, right? There's this faith component to it. That's a lot of what the Hanged Man and the Magician are all about, right? There's faith. There's faith that somebody is going to come and cut me down, that I'm going to be able to get out of this, that I am going to be able to turn everything around. There's faith that I can bring forth the magic that I need, the harvest that I need to fulfill me. And there's also faith that even though the sun is going towards the darkness, we are going towards the darkness of the wheel, that the sun will rise again. It will come up again in spring when we get to Aries season, the equinox. And then here with the 10 of Swords, we have the Corn Mother. What are we grateful for? All of the lessons. We are so grateful for all of the lessons. Whatever this has been for you, however you gained this wisdom, however you got to this tree, to this point of suspension, however you got through that shining bright light. Not all things, yes, most things happen in darkness, but not all do. Sometimes it's very well seen what's happening. However you got through all of this, all of these swords that got put into your back, we thank the Corn Mother for that. We are grateful for that because it made you who you are today. And who you are today isn't this cavalier individual that's just out there doing whatever. You're focused. You're in gratitude. You're contemplative. You're balancing your intuition, your feminine energy, your masculine energy. Strength, right? We're going to get here at the cauldron. What's the message from the goddess and the god? Strength. Look, she's the only one holding her own out here. And that's okay. She's okay with that. That's the strength that she has, the knowing that she has. And what needs attention from now until the next Sabbath, which is Mabon, that's again September. The Hoe, 8 of Cups. What needs attention? Look at all these cups. What needs attention is, okay, I love this waterfall, first off. All of these cascading, I'm getting the word cascading emotions, all of those, as the season change, as we get, which will happen in October, when we get to both of them, when we get to the eclipse, all of these things that have been cascading washes away. What needs attention from now until Mabon? Where you're going. How you're going to fill these. How do these 8 cups play a part in your bigger picture that's going to get you through to Aries season next year? That's going to get you through, what do we have? We have October, so Scorpio season, Sagittarius season, Capricorn season, Aquarius season, and so what needs attention from, how are you going to fill those? How are you going to let this cascade of emotions, the things that you don't need anymore? I love that it comes out with this like Sun and Prince of Wands. Remember, we're not here, but how do you remain focused on that as the wheel changes, as we go from zodiac sign to zodiac sign, as we get to another eclipse season, as we get to the nodes now finally being in Aries and in Libra, as we continue to have things change and evolve and the planets working with us. And then the message again from the goddess and god is strength. We got boar energy here, the swords down, because really she don't need it. She doesn't need that sword. She has strength enough to temper the beast. What has nourished me since summer solstice? What have I reaped since summer solstice? What is not yet ready to harvest? What has reached the end of its cycle? What am I ready to remove from my life? What am I grateful for? What needs attention from now till Mabon? And the message from the goddess and god. Strength. That's the energy to take forward. Have strength in all that you have accomplished thus far. Have strength in all of your knowledge and your wisdom. Have strength during the dark days. Have strength in making sure that you're allowing our fields, the mental, spiritual, physical fields of ourself, have strength. Know that you are going to its fulfillment to get you through the dark half of the year. And have strength to know that even in the dark half of the year, this is why we have community. This is why we have family. This is why we have other things like our ancestors and our lineage and the other ideas, other things that we can alchemize, things that we're still sitting on to sustain us through. That is the message for Lughnasadh. Woo! All right. We are done. Labradorite down. Love it. Okay. So thank you all so much for joining me for this special Twitchy Tuesdays for Lughnasadh. Let's clear space. Let's get out of here. I'm pretty sure I can smell the barbecue. Super excited for that. So again, Lughnasadh is August 1st, or if you are looking from a celestial standpoint, if 15 degrees of Leo, an astrological standpoint, 15 degrees of Leo. And let's clear space. Our goal, as always, is 1,000 subs on YouTube, 100 followers on Twitch for quarter 3. We didn't accomplish that in quarter 2, and that's okay. We did get closer. I think the last I looked, we were at 272. So, how can you support? You can head to YouTube and Twitch right now, get to my channel, Twitchy Tuesdays, and make sure you are subscribed and following. August got scheduled. I got it done this weekend. So that is on YouTube now. The schedule has always been on Twitch, but the upcoming schedules are on YouTube. You can go to my live tab on my channel, smash the notify me button, and that will get you notified anytime that I go live. And if you dig music and want specially curated playlist of songs to vibe to, you definitely want to check out my Apple Music channel. You can find 2 Saturn return playlists, Saturn and Pisces list, which by the way was rocking this week in our household. It was great, as well as Twitchy Tuesdays, one that I add to on the regular as I kind of am vibing with songs that help me kind of just interpret all of this, get to all of the cards, etc. And that is always found in the description box on YouTube and the About Me section on Twitch. All right, everyone, enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we will see you on Tuesdays for another episode of Twitchy Tuesdays. Bye.